Welcome to Lost and Explained TV. Please like our video and subscribe to our channel for more mysterious history. Imagine walking through a European city and seeing a woman dancing alone in the street. There is no celebration, no musicians, no festival, and she does not appear to be enjoying herself. Hours pass. She keeps dancing. The next day, she is still moving. Then other people begin to join her. Within weeks, dozens, and according to some historical accounts, perhaps hundreds, are caught in the same strange frenzy. They dance until they collapse from exhaustion. Some later accounts even claim that people died. This was not a legend created centuries later. Records from Strasbourg confirm that a disturbing outbreak of compulsive dancing really occurred during the summer of 1518. Exactly how many people participated and whether the dancing itself caused deaths is less certain. This is the mystery of the dancing plague of 1518. In July of 1518, Strasbourg was a city within the Holy Roman Empire, in a region that is now part of France. According to later accounts, the outbreak began with a woman, commonly identified as Frau Trophäa. She stepped into the street outside her home and began to dance. There was apparently no music. She simply kept moving, for hours, then for days. She would eventually collapse from exhaustion, only to begin again. Within several days, other people were reportedly dancing too. Soon, there were dozens. And as the strange behavior spread through Strasbourg, city officials faced a problem unlike anything they knew how to solve. To understand what happened next, we need to understand Strasbourg itself. Life in the early 1500s could be extremely difficult. The region had experienced poor harvests, economic hardship, disease, and intense religious anxiety. People also lived in a world where supernatural explanations for illness were widely accepted. One particular fear involved Saint Vitus. Some believed that offending the saint could result in a terrible curse, one that forced its victims to dance uncontrollably. Historian John Waller has argued that this combination of extreme stress and deeply held cultural beliefs may be critical to understanding what happened in Strasbourg. Strasbourg's leaders did not initially believe the dancers were possessed. Physicians reportedly diagnosed the problem as a natural illness caused by overheated blood. Their solution sounds almost unbelievable today. They believed the dancers should keep dancing until the illness worked its way out of their bodies. So the city actually encouraged it. Temporary dancing areas were created. Musicians were hired. Drums, pipes, fiddles, and horns accompanied the suffering dancers. Healthy people were even brought in to encourage them. Instead of stopping the outbreak, the plan appears to have made the situation worse. A chronicle later claimed that as many as 400 people became involved. This is where the story becomes more complicated. Popular versions of the dancing plague often claim that people dropped dead from heart attacks, strokes, dehydration, or exhaustion. Some later accounts even claimed that as many as 15 people died in a single day. But historians have reason to be cautious. Contemporary Strasbourg records clearly support the existence of the dancing outbreak, but the famous death figures come from later accounts rather than a reliable surviving list of fatalities. So people may have died, but we cannot confidently say how many, or even prove the dramatic death tolls repeated in modern retellings. What we do know is that the authorities eventually abandoned their plan to encourage the dancing. Something had to change. The city ordered the dancing platforms removed. Music and most public dancing were restricted, and some of the most severely affected people were taken outside Strasbourg to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus near Saverne. There, religious rituals were performed in the hope of breaking the affliction, and gradually, the outbreak faded. By late August or early September, the strange episode appears to have ended. After weeks of uncontrollable movement, Strasbourg returned to normal. But no one truly knew why. One explanation involves ergot. Ergot is a fungus that can grow on grains such as rye. Eating contaminated grain can cause serious poisoning, including hallucinations, convulsions, and other neurological symptoms. At first, this sounds like a reasonable explanation. Maybe contaminated bread caused hundreds of people to behave strangely. But there is a problem. Severe ergot poisoning can cause painful convulsions and restrict blood flow to the limbs. That makes prolonged dancing for hours or days difficult to explain. There is also no direct evidence showing that Strasbourg's dancers had eaten contaminated grain. For those reasons, many historians consider ergot poisoning an unlikely explanation for the outbreak. The leading modern explanation is much stranger. The dancers may have been experiencing what we would now call a mass psychogenic illness, physical symptoms that spread through a group without a conventional infectious disease causing them. The symptoms are real. The suffering is real. But psychological stress, expectation, fear, and social influence can help spread the behavior from one person to another. In Strasbourg, the population was already under enormous pressure, and many people believed that Saint Vitus could punish them by forcing them to dance. If someone suddenly began behaving exactly like a victim of that feared curse, others, living under the same stress, may have become susceptible to the same reaction. In this interpretation, belief helped shape the symptoms. Fear helped spread them. And once dozens of people were dancing publicly, while musicians and crowds surrounded them, the outbreak may have reinforced itself. Historian John Waller has argued for this kind of stress-driven psychological contagion, although the precise diagnosis remains debated. More than 500 years later, there is still no medical test that can be performed on the dancers. No surviving patient can describe what they felt, and the historical sources do not agree on every detail. We know that something unusual happened. We know Strasbourg's government responded to it. We know musicians and dancing platforms were used. And we know the city eventually turned toward religious rituals and restrictions as the outbreak subsided. But what was happening inside the minds of the dancers? Were they terrified? Were they in trance-like states? Did some people imitate others? Or did several different causes become mixed together until the entire city seemed to be caught in the same strange nightmare? We may never know. The dancing plague of 1518 sounds impossible. Hundreds of people apparently moved uncontrollably through the streets of Strasbourg, while doctors, priests, and city leaders struggled to understand what they were seeing. But beneath the bizarre story may be something very human: fear, stress, belief, and the extraordinary power one person's behavior can sometimes have over an entire community. So what do you think? Was the dancing plague a massive psychological reaction? Some kind of poisoning or illness? Or is there another explanation that history has forgotten? Share your theory in the comments and subscribe to Lost and Explained TV for more mysteries hidden beneath history.